Okay, so have you ever looked around your life or even yourself and you think to yourself, I don't even recognize myself anymore, or you really just don't feel like yourself and you don't even know why? Maybe you're starting to pull away from things in your life or people in your life, and you're just feeling more like a hermit. You just want to stay inside and be more quiet, or even just go more inward in your life. Maybe things that used to light you up just don't anymore. It's dull and boring, and you find yourself just questioning everything, questioning who you are, what you want, what you used to want doesn't make sense anymore. You're questioning your relationships, your work, your values, maybe even your spirituality, your belief systems. Sometimes all of it all at once, where things just don't feel like you anymore. They don't fit anymore. If you're nodding along or you're saying, yes, that's me, you're definitely not alone. And you're likely in what I would call the reflection phase. And that's what we're going to be diving into in this video. So I hope you will stay with me. Before, really quick, I want to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Destiny Rael, and I'm a trauma-informed life and grief coach. And this is what I do. I help people navigate these changes and phases of their life, from life, loss, and everything in between. And I created the Destiny Map, and I'll show you my little, it's a quiz and reflection guide. It's really a 5-phase framework where it helps you understand where you are and who you are in your journey of life. Because just like seasons, we go through cycles. We go through cycles of change and transition and growth and rediscovery and becoming. And that's what this video is. This video is a part of a series that I've actually been doing where I walk through all the phase of the Destiny Map. And today we're walking through the specific reflection phase. And we're going to walk through what this phase really is about and what it might be asking of you and how to move forward with it with grace and clarity, even when the answers still seem so far away or even impossible. And hint, the answers are inside of you. And that's what this reflection phase is really inviting you to get curious about and to deepen. But we'll get to that. And also, I want to encourage to stick around the end, because I'm actually going to give you some real coaching tools and tangible steps that you can actually take forward while you're in this phase. So before we do, let's talk about what this phase really is. What is this reflection phase? I like to think of it as cleaning out your closet. You know, when you go in your closet and you might pull out an outfit that you used to love, or a pair of shoes that made sense at one point, and they were so you at the time, but then you look at it and you're thinking, what was I even thinking? Like, I wouldn't ever wear that now. Or maybe you try something on and quite literally it doesn't fit. If you're a woman in perimenopause or menopause, you might know what I mean, because that's what's happening to me. I'm not fitting in my clothes. Different video, different day. But nonetheless, things just are not fitting anymore. And that's not just yourself. That could be your relationships, your goals, your dreams, your beliefs. It just don't fit anymore. They don't make sense. And you may not even be able to explain it. You just know that something's changing in you, or you've outgrown something. Or you might even be coming out of what I call the disruption phase. And we talked about that in the video before, where life completely disrupted. It's thrown you completely off course. And now you're just sitting here in the aftermath, withdrawn and unsettled and unclear and soul searching. So whatever got you here in this reflection phase, this is where you're at. And that's what I want to really encourage, to not rush. So let's talk about how the reflection phase might be showing up for you. You might feel like you're asking yourself these deeper questions, even if you don't have the answers. And you might even feel frustrated. Like, you might be saying, like, I don't know anymore. I don't know who I am. Maybe you're craving more quiet reflection, or like a spiritual reset. You might be drawn more to spiritual teachings or more spiritual understanding. Or maybe you're even more emotional, more introspective, more nostalgic. I know recently when I felt I was in this phase, I was really longing for my 20-year-old self and reflecting on that young me that just moved to New York City, fearless and ready to live her dreams, and wondering, where did she go? Where's she at? So sometimes it is looking deeper in our older versions of ourselves that are trying to come through. And there's so many ways that this phase really shows up in your life. And I would love to hear in the comments how that feels for you. But either way, you're just in this space of in between of what was and what is becoming. And it can feel disorienting. But I want to tell you and remind you that I know it can feel like you're broken. I know it can feel like you don't know what you're doing, but it's actually a sign that you are shifting, that you are recalibrating, that your inner compass is actually rerouting, and it needs that time to reflect, to reorient, and get yourself on track and on the course that you're meant to be. So let's talk about what this phase needs and what it needs from you. And I know that this phase can be messy, and it's meant to be. It's meant to be a little all over the place because that's what needs to be rearranged. And it needs space. It needs patience. It needs honesty, and it needs curiosity. This is not a season or phase for you to be pushing forward. It's really a time to pause and to listen, and not just with your mind where you're trying to figure everything out and make sense of everything, but be in the space of the unknown and where your soul can start to come forward. And that's what this space needs. And it's also asking for that time and that space from you. And speaking of, let's talk about what it's asking for. It's asking for curiosity, and not from pressure, but to really explore what's shifting inside, to really explore what you're needing. It's asking for honesty. It wants your real truth about what's no longer being aligned, what's no longer working for you. Oftentimes we focus on what we want and where we're going, but sometimes we have to look at where we don't want to be and what we do know we don't want. So that is just as valuable. It's also asking for your permission. It's asking for your permission to be where you're at, to not have the answers and to not have everything figured out. And it's asking for your compassion. And I know I say that in all the videos, but compassion is needed in all the phases of our life. I know that, again, this phase can be really unsettling, but I want you to think of this phase as unpacking your bags, maybe before even moving into the new home, where everything's everywhere and it's chaotic and there's stuff all over the place. But this is where your clarity is, because now you can see everything for what it is, and then you get to ask, you get to say, what am I taking with me? What am I leaving behind? What no longer fits? What no longer aligns with me? What do I no longer even want? What just is not me anymore? And you also get to make space for who you're becoming. And you don't have to solve this right away, and you don't even have to rush this process. But if you think of it visually like that, this is now where you get to allow yourself the space to reflect and to really sort out the things that are wanted and unwanted. Okay, so as promised, I want to give you some real tangible tools that can help you in this phase, because I know while yes, there's so much space in the in-between, there's also things we can be doing to start stoking the fires inside of us, and that can give us some more clarity. And the first tool that I'd love to offer you and encourage you to try is one of my favorite tools that I use a lot with my coaching clients, is the life balance wheel. Of course, I call it the destiny wheel, but that's neither here nor there. But it's a really powerful tool that will help you really assess all the main areas of your life. It's one of my favorite tools, especially when everything feels a little out of balance and uncertain. So it really is a powerful tool that will help you look at the different areas of your life, whether it's your relationships, work, creativity, money, finance, purpose, all the main components of our lives. It helps you get a bird's eye view and allows you to do a personal assessment in your life. And once you work through the exercise, you walk away with more clarity and even some insight about what's working, what's not, and you can start to maybe make some shifts and start reorienting to yourself and taking some tangible action steps forward. So if you want to try this tool out, I have a free version. I'll leave the link in the show notes and you can download it for free, or you can just Google life balance wheel. It's a very common self-development tool. And for that reason, because it's such a powerful way to find insight and clarity. The second thing that I want to offer is journaling. And I know that seems cliche, but especially in the reflection phase, journaling is a powerful, powerful tool to help deepen that dialogue with yourself and get the clarity and the insight. So I'm going to offer you these 4 journal prompts. And if you want to pause this or rewind it, I encourage you just so you can have them to reflect on and to answer. So I've got my notes here. So the first one is, what in my life no longer feels like me? What in my life no longer feels like me? What parts of myself have I been ignoring, avoiding, or quieting down? What am I craving more of? Emotionally, creatively, spiritually? And if I could tell the truth about what's not working, what would I say? And I really encourage, when you are journaling, that you give yourself space to be honest. You don't have to judge yourself. You don't have to have all the perfect answers. Just answer the truth and allow your heart and your soul to take over. And last but not least, my final exercise, and this is a powerful one because it gets into the embodiment, is to follow your curiosity. I know a lot of times we hear follow your soul, which you do want to follow your soul, but I want you to follow your inklings, follow what's lighting you up, follow that little spark inside, follow your inquiry, whether that is a new podcast or if it's a book that's drawing your interest, whether it is a new recipe or even a restaurant you've always wanted to try, but you never even tasted the cuisine. Think of it as breadcrumbs that are bringing you back to yourself. These are clues. These are nudges. These are ways that can lead you towards more truth in yourself. And also it can be fun and it can be exciting to explore these new parts. So follow your curiosity. I encourage you to, even when you wake up tomorrow or even start your day, ask yourself, what do I want to know more about? How would my curiosity lead me today? And trust that these are your soul's whispering to you that there's something more for you. I hope those tools were helpful for you and can give you some at least tangible ways to find some clarity and start moving forward in your life. And also really want to encourage you that even though this phase can be uncomfortable, it's also sacred. It's your soul whispering to you that there's more for you and it's guiding you. And so encourage you to trust yourself because you're not behind. You are really reintroducing yourself to yourself. You're getting to know this new part of yourself and perhaps even inviting and remembering other parts that have been dormant for a while. And that's really making space for who you're becoming and also where you're going. So if you haven't yet, and you might be pretty certain what phase you're in, but if you're not sure, I invite you to take the Destiny Map quiz. It'll help you name your phase you're in and give you some journal prompts and tools and support where you're at. And I will leave that link below where you can take the quiz. And of course, if you want more support or tools or coaching, I'm here for you. I would love to walk you through your phases and your cycles and your journey in your life. And also, I know I mentioned journaling. If you are looking for a journal, I actually have a really amazing journal called my Destiny Journal, and it has 120 prompts, and it is a perfect journal for reflection, and I'll leave that in the link below. And you also get to choose your covers. Wherever you're at in your life, I hope you give yourself the grace and permission to be there. I hope that if you need any support, I'm here for you and you can reach out anytime. In the meantime, I want to invite you to join me for the next video where we're going to be talking about the radiance phase. And that's where the light starts to come back and you're starting to feel that like spark that now you're having more clarity and you're ready to be seen and you're ready to start showing up. So join me in the next video. And before we do, I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes. And it's by Rainer Maria Rilke. And he said, "Be patient toward all that is unresolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer." I hope you live the questions, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for being here.